Hi there, this is Gus G from Firewind and the Ozzy Osbourne Band, and you're listening to 88.7 WSYC.
Firewind just released their latest album, Days of Defiance. It came out October 25th in Europe and October 26th over here in the US. Do you know how it's doing sale-wise or review-wise?
The reviews have been really good so far, and everybody's been talking about, us doing our easily our best effort to date, and I'm glad to see such a good feedback.
And this is actually Firewind's 6th album and 12th year. What would you say makes this album stand out from all your previous releases?
I think this album is kind of like, what this album is all about is kind of like establishing our sound and style. We took like kind of like the past elements, the best past elements of the past records, and put it into one album. And we just want to, establish our own sound and style with this one, and I think we've achieved it.
So would you say this is probably like the monumental Firewind album to have then?
Like I said, I leave that up to the people to judge. All I know is that we're in the band. We're very happy with it, and we're very proud of this record. I'm not really gonna go out and say cliche stuff. Oh, it's the best thing we've ever done, and then next year the next one comes and same thing again. Can't really, I'm very. I got to tell you, I'm the kind of guy that I'm very proud of all our records. If you ask me how I feel about our first record, I still love it. Because the way that I see things is that it is what it is for back then, and that's the best we could do, and that's what it was. So I'm proud of that, and that's how I feel about our new album.
As you should be proud of all the releases because they're all like so sick. Could you tell us a little bit about what went into recording Days of Defiance?
We actually did it a little bit different this time. We actually did it on our ourselves. We didn't really rent a studio and relocated there for a couple of months. We just basically kind of like did it in our home studios because we all have cool, good Pro Tools setup systems and computers, and we did everything in Bob's studio, in our keyboard player studio. He has a really good setup there, and we basically kind of like that eliminated the stress by being in the studio, kind of like the clock ticking. Oh, I have one more day to finish everything or something. That enabled us to capture really great performances by each member.
Does the title of this album have any kind of meaning?
It's actually one of the lyrics of the first track, The Ark of Lies, which is about, kind of like talking about, the whole rebellious vibe that's in the air today, kind of like everywhere, with everything that's going on, with the world recession, with, people just not, so much corruption around and people not trusting any leaders, political or religious. So it's a little bit about that, and it's a cool title for an album. Really, that's what it is. There's no general concept behind it because other songs talk about different things.
Would you care to elaborate kind of what the other songs do talk about, as well as all the other stuff that goes into the...
Sure. I mean, like, for example, to give you an example, the song Heading for the Dawn is basically a song about us and us traveling and playing for our fans all over the world. It's, a song like that. A song like Embrace the Sun is a song with a very, very positive meaning, like it's about kind of like lyrics like you can't change the world, but you can change yourself. So it's stuff, it's like about the human condition and the like, I don't know, some words of wisdom by our singer there. And, all kinds of things like that. It's different stuff. All our lyrics always dealt with the human condition and the feelings we go through daily or whatever situations we go in our lives. So that's a pretty cool thing, I think, because fans can interpret it the way they want and into their personal lives, and hopefully they can get attached to it somehow.
So do you think you could pick a favorite track or maybe a couple standout tracks for you on this one?
Oh, you're asking me hard stuff now. I really like all of them, man. I mean, I like the single, World on Fire. I like the song Cold as Ice. I like Heading for the Dawn. So I like Chariot. So... yeah, there you go. I picked 5 or 4, I don't know.
All right, thank you. I know that's a tough question for anybody in a band to pick some of their favorites. So.
Well, that's the thing, you make all the songs like your kids, like your children, which one do you love most? It's hard to say. It's all your songs, right?
I
I've read Firewind kind of started out as a demo for you to showcase your sick guitar work to like the labels. Did you ever imagine Firewind would become like an internationally recognized and respected band like it is today?
Well, that was that was what I had in mind when I started out. You know, I mean, I didn't say that. You know, I always thought that, hey, whatever comes our way, I'll always appreciate it. You know, and like you say, it's been a long way since the demo days, where it was just me and the drum machine sending it demos around all over the world to get. We started out like as an MP3 band. It was just like me and a couple of guys from America just exchanging MP3 files. So that's how the first two records were made. I never thought that, we would actually be, for example, now in America touring or something, or being able to tour the world on an like everywhere in all countries and have, go and have fans all over the world. It's really a blessing, man. It's like not many people have a chance to do that. And it's a tough business, especially these days. Everybody has a band and everybody wants to make it.
So what would you say kind of took the band from like the MP3 thing, like you said, to more of like the full-blown, here we are, international metal band?
Well, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. I mean, we've been touring, relentlessly for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've played every club on earth. We've played every festival. We've toured Europe hard. We've toured Japan many times. We've toured America a few times. It's just like a result of putting out quality music and supporting it the right way by touring. And eventually, at some point, people will take notice, I guess.
And speaking of touring, you guys have some big ones coming up. I know you have the North American tour, the European tour, even in Japan. Would you care to share some of your feelings about those, or what you guys are doing for those, or anything?
Well, the idea is basically kind of like, because obviously my commitment with Ozzy is a big one, and I have a lot of touring ahead with it. And so we thought we will take this from a different angle this time and approach it like we're going to do special shows in each, in various countries. So we're only doing like 4 or 5 shows here, 4 shows actually in America right now for 2010 and up on the East Coast. We will be back for a West Coast run next year, but we are doing this right now. And after that, we're going to play some shows in Greece, in Bulgaria, in England, in Germany. And then after that, in January, we're going to go to Japan. And hopefully after that, return to America or something for another short run. We're also looking into doing a lot of summer festivals next year over Europe. So that's kind of like the idea for this album.
Right, you've mentioned touring with Ozzy. As a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, Ozzy was like huge back then. I mean, he still is now. So how do you feel like playing guitar for him?
It's the biggest of all honors, man. I mean, it doesn't get really any better. I'm truly honored that I have a chance to play next to such an icon. I grew up with his stuff. I mean, his ex-band, Black Sabbath, is one of my favorite bands. So, and then I'm a huge Ozzy fan as a kid. When I was growing up, and still am.
As well as Ozzy, you've played with so many other bands, such as like Arch Enemy, Night Rage, Dream Evil. Do any like one of these or a couple of these like really stand out to you?
I think a band that really stood out that I did work with is Night Rage, because Marius, my friend Marius, he's a truly he's a true artist, and he's really sacrificed everything for his art, and you can really hear that on his records. And even though it's way different from what Firewind is doing, it's like on the extreme side of things. It's a really great extreme metal band,
Like you said, it is different from Firewind, and a couple of bands that you've played in have been geared toward more of a death metal sound as opposed to...
I'm open-minded. For me, there is no death metal, thrash metal, or whatever. For me, it's just good music and bad music, and if I like it, it's good music, and that's how I like to, that's how I approach music in general. So it doesn't matter to me if it's more brutal or more aggressive or if it's softer.
Right. So how does it feel to be in such demand, playing with all these bands and all that?
Oh, well, it's a nice feeling, that people want to work with you. It's a great thing. And like I said, when I started out, I was playing with all these different bands, and I got my name out there, and eventually, you never know when you're touring or when you're making records who's taking notice or who's watching out there. The best example of that, because I started from the underground scene, and now I'm playing for Ozzy Osbourne.
Right, definitely a true success story there.
Yep.
After forming Firewind and like a successful solo career and playing with so many other pretty big name bands, is there like a performer or a band that you've just like dreamt of playing for?
Not really. I mean, I'm playing. I'm very happy where I am right now. I got my band, and I'm very happy with that. And they're all great musicians, great guys, and we make great records. And I'm also playing with Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's great. I just feel blessed that I have the chance to tour the world with Ozzy and with Firewind and play my music. It's great.
It definitely is something only a couple people actually get to experience, so that is sick.
Yeah, man.
All right, my last question for you would just be if you have anything you'd like to say to the fans out there.
Yeah, thank you all for supporting, and we got a brand new album out with Firewind. It's called Days of Defiance. I hope you check it out, and can't wait to come play your town soon.